Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Here I discuss about the anatomy of kidney. First, we come to the position of the kidneys. Kidneys are retroperitoneal paired organs. Retroperitoneal means they are lying behind the peritoneum, and each kidney lies on the posterior abdominal wall lateral to the vertebral column. In the supine position, their vertebral level is from T12 to L3. The right kidney is slightly lower than the left kidney because of the large size of the right lobe of the liver. With contraction of the diaphragm during respiration, both kidneys move downward in a vertical direction up to 1 inches. Now the color, shape and dimensions of the kidney. The kidney is reddish brown in color. It is bean shaped and the dimensions are 11 into 6 into 3 centimeters. That is 11 is length, 6 centimeter is the width and 3 centimeter is the thickness of the kidney. They are similar in size, but the left kidney is slightly longer and more slender than the right one. Each kidney possesses two ends, that is the upper and the lower end, two borders, that is the lateral border and the medial border. So here we can see this is the medial border which is notched, and this notch is known as the hilum, and this is the lateral border which is convex. This hilum leads into the renal sinus. There are two surfaces in the kidney. One is anterior, other is posterior surface. Now, renal hilum and renal sinus. Hilum transmits from anterior to posterior side the renal vein, renal artery and the pelvis of ureter. Also, lymphatic vessels and sympathetic nerve fibers passes through the hilum. Now, renal sinus, it is the area which is expanded and it contains the renal pelvis. Also, perinephric fat which is continues into the hilum and the sinus surrounds all these structures. Now here we can see the renal sinus which is demarcated with the red color. Renal sinus is the area within the invaginated kidney. It contains the pelvis of ureter, and the renal hilum is the area that contains the renal sinus to the perinephric space. Now this is the frontal section of the kidney. Here we can see the minor calyx, the major calyx, the renal pelvis which leads into the ureter, also renal artery and the vein. The outer part of the kidney is known as cortex and the inner area is known as medulla. Now the coverings of kidneys. There are four coverings of the kidney. Outermost is the fibrous capsule. It is closely adherent to the kidney. In the diagram we can show the fibrous capsule. Then outside the fibrous capsule we have the perirenal fat which covers the fibrous capsule. Then outside that we have the renal fascia, which is the condensation of areolar connective tissue that lies outside the perirenal fat and encloses the kidney and the suprarenal gland. Then we have the pararenal fat which lies external to the renal fascia and it is a part of retroperitoneal fat. In the diagram we can see the perirenal and the pararenal fat. These last three structures, that is the perirenal fat, renal fascia and pararenal fat, they hold the kidney in their position. Now the relations of the kidney on the anterior side. The kidneys are related on the anterior surface to various viscera, like on the left side we have uppermost viscera is the left suprarenal gland. Below that we have the impression for stomach, then spleen, and below that we have the pancreas. Then the lateral convex part of the anterior surface is related to the left colic flexure and descending colon, and the rest of the lower part of the anterior surface of the kidney is related to the jejunum. Then on the right side, the small upper pole is occupied by the right suprarenal gland. Then rest area below that is occupied by the liver, and below the liver we have the second part of the duodenum, and the lower part is occupied by the coils or small intestine. Then the posterior relations of the kidney. On the posterior side, the structures are similar on both the sides of the kidneys except one rib, that is, on the left side we have 12th and 11th ribs in relation to the posterior surface of the kidney, while on the right side, as we know, the right kidney is lower in position in comparison to the left, so we have only one rib in relation to the kidney, that is the 12th rib. Other relations on the posterior surface of the kidney includes the diaphragm on the upper aspect. Then below that we have the three muscles of the posterior abdominal wall, that is medial most is the psoas major, then lateral to it we have quadratus lumborum, and the lateral most is the transversus abdominis muscle. Then the neurovascular structures which are passing in between these muscles are subcostal nerve, iliohypogastric and ilioinguinal nerves. Then there is a term known as vertebrocostal and renal angle. Renal angle is what? It is an angle between the erector spinae muscle and the lower border of the last rib, that is the 12th rib. This is known as renal angle. We have demarcated this renal angle in the diagram. This renal angle has clinical importance in that here we can feel the tenderness of renal pathology like renal stones, renal abscess and polynephritis. Now we have the interior of the kidney. The interior of the kidney is divided into cortex and the medulla. The cortex is the outer 1 centimeter area of the kidney, and the medulla is the inner part of the kidney, which includes the renal columns and the pyramids. Pyramids open into the papilla. Then the lobe of kidney. Lobe of kidney is what? It is the pyramid and its overlying cortex. That is the triangular area which I have demarcated in the diagram. This is known as pyramid, and the area above it, which is the part of cortex. Both these areas, they are known as lobe of kidney. Then in the cortex we have the two terms, that is cortical arches and the renal columns. Cortical arches, these are the areas which caps over the bases of the pyramid, and the renal columns, these are the areas which dip in between the pyramids. So these two structures I have demarcated in the diagram. These are the cortical arches above the pyramid and renal columns between the pyramids. Then here we can see the cortex and the medulla part. In the medulla we have the pyramids. These pyramids are triangular in structure. They are having an apex, a base. So this is the base, and this part which is known as the apex. This apex is opening into the minor calyxes. So these are the minor calyxes are what? These are the part of pelvis of ureter. So here we can see the bases, the apex and the renal sinus which is enclosing the pelvis of ureter, and the apical portion of the pyramid is known as papilla, renal papilla, which is surrounded or which is opening into the minor calyx. 2 or 3 minor calyx, they unite to form the major calyx. In the diagram we have demarcated the minor as well as major calyxes. These major calyxes, they unite and forms the renal pelvis. Then the microscopic structure of the kidney. Kidney, as we have known that it is a collection of millions of uriniferous tubule. Uriniferous tubule means the structure which is filtering the blood, that is the nephron. Each kidney contains over 1 to 2 millions of the nephron, and thousands of collecting tubules. Now we come to the structure of nephron. The nephron contains the cup-like structure known as Bowman's capsule. So this is the Bowman's capsule. Then after that we have the tubular structure which is convoluted. This is known as proximal convoluted tubule. Then we have the U-shaped loop which is known as loop of Hanle. Then we have another convoluted tubule that is known as distal convoluted tubule. This distal convoluted tubule is opening into the collecting duct. Now what are the functions of these different parts of the nephron? The glomerulus is the high pressure capillary bed which is the site of blood filtration. The Bowman's capsule, it is a funnel like structure which is beginning of the nephron, and each nephron has its own independent blood supply which is coming from the renal arteriole and the veins. Now the basic steps in urine formation includes the glomerular filtration which creates a plasma like filtrate of the blood. Then the second step is tubular reabsorption, that is absorption of all the valuable filtrates in the proximal convoluted tubule. It removes all the useful substances from the filtrate and returns them back to the blood for reuse. Then tubular secretion, that is, it adds waste from the blood to the filtrate. Then water reabsorption, it removes the blood, removes the water from the filtrate and returns it to the blood for reuse. This is the juxtaglomerular apparatus which includes the juxtaglomerular cells demarcated in the diagram. Macula densa. Macula densa cells, these are the cells of distal convoluted tubule close to the afferent arteriole. So, the cells of the distal convoluted tubule close to the afferent arteriole, they become specialized and elongated and they are known as macula densa cells. Also, this apparatus includes the mesenchymal cells. So these three types of cells, they form juxtaglomerular apparatus. These are meant for the secretion of renin, which is a hormone, for controlling the blood pressure. Then come to the arterial supply of the kidney. The kidneys are supplied by the renal artery, which is a branch from the abdominal aorta at the level of second lumbar vertebrae. Renal artery divides into 5 segmental arteries, and then these segmental arteries divides to form lobar arteries. These lobar arteries again bifurcates to form interlobar arteries, and these interlobar arteries, they form arch like structure over the bases of pyramids and are known as arcuate arteries. These arcuate arteries, they provide afferent arteriole for the Bowman's capsule, that is the formation of glomerulus. Now the segments of kidney. In the kidney, we have 5 segments: the apical, caudal, anterior superior, anterior inferior and posterior. Then the venous drainage of the kidney, it includes the renal vein, which is draining into the inferior vena cava. All the renal arteries, they are accompanied by their named veins. So this is the renal vein. The left renal vein is 3 times longer than the right. So for this reason, the left kidney is the preferred site for live donor nephrectomy. It runs from its origin in the renal hilum posterior to the splenic vein and the body of pancreas, and then across the anterior aspect of the aorta just below the origin of superior mesenteric artery. The renal vein, left renal vein, enters the inferior vena cava a little above the right. The right renal vein is behind the second part of the duodenum and sometimes behind the lateral part of the head of the pancreas. Then the lymphatic drainage of the kidneys. The lymph vessels follows the arteries, and it includes the lateral aortic lymph nodes. Lateral aortic around the origin of renal artery. Then the nerve supply of the kidney is via renal sympathetic plexus. The afferent fibers that travel through the renal plexus enter the spinal cord in the 10th, 11th and 12th thoracic nerves. Then come to the applied. It includes the congenital anomalies like unilateral and bilateral agenesis. Agenesis means non-development of the kidney. Then we have horseshoe-shaped kidney, congenital polycystic disease, ectopic kidney, abnormal renal arteries which may arise from the aorta or superior mesenteric artery, some infections and renal failure. Now this is the horseshoe-shaped kidney. In this, the lower pole of the kidneys both are united and it assumes the shape of horseshoe. That is why it is known as horseshoe-shaped kidney. It is affecting about 1 in 600 people. It is common in men. Then we have polycystic kidney. In this, the continuation between the nephrons and the collecting tubules, it fails to establish. That is why small pockets which are filled with urine are formed. These are known as polycystic kidney. Then acute renal failure. Renal failure means the kidneys are unable to form the urine. It can be pre-renal, intrarenal and post-renal. Pre-renal means there is sudden and severe drop in the blood pressure or interruption of the blood flow to the kidneys from severe injury or illness. Intrarenal, it can be direct damage to the kidneys by inflammation, toxins, drugs, infection or reduced blood supply. Post-renal, this includes sudden obstruction of urine flow due to enlarged prostate, kidney stones, bladder tumor or injury. Then we have nephrotosis, also known as floating kidneys. It is the prolapse of kidney where the kidney slips or falls more than 2 vertebrae lower than where it should be. It is often treated with nephropexy. Nephropexy is the surgical fixation of floating or mobile kidneys. Then we have the renal stones. Here we can see the formation of crystals inside the kidney. Then we have tuberculosis of kidney. It is an infection of kidney by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Then we have hemodialysis due to acute renal failure. The blood filtration is done with the help of this electronic machine. This procedure is known as hemodialysis. Now the questions which are related to this topic important for your exams includes write short note on internal structure of the kidney. So in this we have to discuss about the cortex, medulla, renal pyramids and the major and the minor calyxes, the pelvis of ureter, the renal sinus, and also we have to draw a suitable diagram. Then the second question is posterior relation of the kidney. In this we have to discuss about all the structures which are related on the posterior aspect of the kidney. If it is right kidney given in the question, then you should discuss only about the right kidney. So this completes our topic. Thank you so much for watching.